From the BBR studios, it is Line Locked, where we come at you live but recorded.
Perfect.
I did it right that time.
Perfect.
This is episode 13, the big 13. Is that bad luck?
No, because it's not on Friday.
It's not on Friday. Okay. So episode number 13. How are you doing, man?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Real excited to come back in the new year.
Yeah, it is 2024 now.
It is. It's weird to say.
Yes.
I hadn't had to written a check yet that I've screwed up or I have to sign my name yet.
Yeah, but, writing 23 down for everything. Yeah. Jeez. Well, hey, I got a question for you. All right. Do you believe in ghosts?
I don't know, man. There's weird things that's happened, but I'm either or.
Don't know, really. You're kind of on the fence.
Maybe you're going to tell me a story that might change my mind.
Well, maybe. So I do got a couple stories. I've done a couple ghost hunts, and one of them we went to was in Gettysburg.
Okay.
If
there's going to be a ghost, they're going to be in Gettysburg.
Oh, the Civil War stuff and everything going on up there. We went on this bridge that was called the Bridge. No joke. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
I'm not sure if we can say that word on YouTube. I might have to bleep that.
It out. Okay. We don't want any flags. But yes, it's called that. And it is.
Let's just, in case I do blip it out, we'll call it the Unalive Bridge.
The Unalive Bridge. That's what it is.
Okay.
Or make yourself unalive.
There you go.
Make yourself Unalive Bridge.
All right. Use your imagination, whatever Chris just said then.
So a lot of people evidently go to this bridge to make yourself unalive.
Okay.
And there was a lot of picture taking. It was a group of 5 of us, and we were taking a bunch of pictures. And of course, you see a lot of the weird things in the photos, like apparitions or whatever you call it. There was one thing this device that this ghost hunter had was it would scan all these frequencies, and it would pop up sounds and stuff. And we actually had this ghost talk to us to tell us his name, and he got really angry. And one of the guys I was with actually got hit in his back by something. And we're in the middle of a bridge. There's nobody around but us. No one was standing by him. He got hit in the back by something. We don't know what it was. It was really creepy.
He got hit in the back by paranoia.
Paranoia. The second story I got for you, though. So we were in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
There's another great city that if you're going to ghost around, that's a good place to be at. Huh?
We did a ghost walk, and every one of us was given, or our group was given, and it was actually the same people that was in the first one. Our group was given this little device that would spit out words, and so you'd carry it on, look at it, and there's this little display, and it just spit out stuff. And then it said something along the lines of your mom, something talking about our mom. And then I was like, well, what's my mom's name? And it came across with her name.
With 2 E's?
Not with 2 E's. No.
Okay. See, that. If you said 2 E's, I'd be like, all right, sold.
No, okay. How many different names are there out there, though? I get it. It was spelled wrong, but it was the right name, and no one knew us. We were in a town. Nobody knew us. There was nobody controlling this little box. I felt like I was talking to a ghost.
I don't know, man. You got my heart racing a little bit. I don't know, dude.
That is a true story, though.
Okay. Well, I don't have anyone. I see a lot of the unaliving in my life.
Oh, yeah.
We both have.
Yeah, we both see a lot of
and
stuff.
I guess there's always a feeling that you have when you're around it. But I don't know if I can really contribute to anything. I don't want to get too deep on it.
Well, I tell you what.
It's supposed to be funny, but
I tell you what. No. If you are listening to us, email us at linelocked.
Your best ghost story.
Yeah, linelockedpodcast@gmail.com. I want to hear your ghost stories too, because maybe mine was a fluke. Who knows? But I've had a couple good experiences. What do you think about it, guys?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. We got one thing we wanted to try. See if you guys are interested in this.
Yeah.
We're going to give you all a riddle. And we have a special guest coming on. I want to say that real quick. We got Rich from ARC, which is Auto Rod. Used to be controls, but now corporations.
Yeah.
It's a really cool product that he sells, or products, and I really look forward to you guys watching him. But what we're going to do is we're going to give you a riddle now, and then you got to comment down below what you think the answer is. No cheating.
Yeah.
And then we'll tell you the answer at the end of the show.
Yeah.
So what is the riddle?
So here you go. Now think about this long and hard.
Okay.
All right. So you're out in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
You see a boat that's filled with people. It has not sunk, but when you look at it again, you don't see a single person on the boat. Why is that?
It's almost like a ghost story.
That's like perfect intro to it.
Great.
Yeah. So a boat.
What do you guys think?
With those, yeah. Okay.
I have no idea. So
I'll say it one more time. You see a boat filled with people. It is not sunk. But when you look at it again, there's not a single person on the boat. Why is that?
Gotta wait to the end of this episode.
Wait to the end of this episode.
All right, cool. And we're also at the end of the episode. We're going to be giving away the T-shirt for the best extreme sport.
Oh the extreme sports.
Yeah, we were supposed to do that at the end of the last year, but I guess you could say
it's not been a year.
Yeah,
it's
end of last year.
Last year, but you made it sound like it was like 8 months ago.
It was like last week, I guess. All right. Well, anyway, the first thing we need to go before we get to Rich is we need to go through the news real quick. So here we go.
It is the line-locked news spot position on this broadcast. It is your host.
All right,
Corey.
so maybe one day we'll get that right.
I've missed to make up something every time.
Yeah.
Different.
All right, well, I'm going to start this one off with a little more sad news.
Man, what a legend.
Yeah, Roland the Hawaiian, sometimes called the Flying Hawaiian, Leong, passed away on December 29th of 23, not too long after the Sarge, which is sad because he had a lot of storied history in the sport of drag racing anyway. He started his Top Fuel career in 1964 after he bought a Top Fuel car. He crashed it like one of the first times he went out. So he said, "I'm not a driver no more. I tune."
Yes, exactly.
It happens fast. Anyway, so his first driver though was Don Prudhomme. So talk about like a legend, just right out of the gate, getting driver. And in '65, he won the U.S. Nationals and the Winter Nationals. So 2 big races of the year. Don and him separated, and he ended up getting another driver in '66. But in '66, he won both of those races too, back to back. He couldn't make it a three-peat, but 2 back to backs pretty cool. In the '70s and '80s, he campaigned a variety of Hawaiian. Actually, I should say, in '69, he abandoned his Top Fuel dragster and he went to Funny Car. And then in the '70s and '80s, he campaigned a variety of the Hawaiian funny cars, which everybody knows them today because those were real popular in match racing and then and some of the actual championship events. In '91, he once again won the U.S. Nationals at Indianapolis, this time in Funny Car Eliminator with Jim White driving. Later at that, the Chief Nationals in Dallas, his Hawaiian Punch funny car was the first in his class to break the 290-mile-an-hour speed mark.
I remember that car when I was younger, the Hawaiian Punch car. I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
After a brief break from the sport, Roland came back in 2009, and he started doing a crew chief for the vintage Nitro funny cars, primarily in NHRA's Hot Rod Heritage Series, which we probably ran across them.
We probably have.
I don't know that to be a fact.
Oh, but we've raced them, but we've run across them. We've seen them.
Yeah. we may have talked a little shit to them.
They may have seen me waving at them from the stands. They may or may not. I cannot concur or confirm.
No, but that's pretty cool, man. That's it's a huge loss for the sport. A lot of history in them. I'm sure he could have told some really great stories. All those years.
We've just lost too many good guys in the sport. And
you old guys, man, you need to make sure you tell us some stories. If you got a story, if you got some history, and you're listening to this, man, give us some stuff on the linelockpodcast@gmail.com so that your story doesn't get lost in history.
Yeah.
I'm sure the Hawaiian he had a pretty good biography, and I'll link all that stuff in the show notes below of all the stuff he's done. But there's a lot of guys that are not as well known that have just as cool stories, and we'd love to hear them. So that's very sad. The next item is the Chili Bowl midget race.
The what?
The Chili Bowl. You never heard of the Chili Bowl?
Oh, the one that's in front of me at the dinner table with a bunch of crackers.
Yeah, nah, man, this is one of the bigger races of the year for midget car racing. It's in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in an arena. It's an indoor arena, dirt track, and it's wild because they race like it's full-time racing. I mean, there's 300 something plus competitors in an arena, a dirt arena. And they're midget sprint cars.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're going pretty fast and stuff. But one thing that I love about the energy of it, because it's a huge crowd event, the energy there is wild. And it's on Flow Racing. If you guys are subscribed to Flow Racing, it starts January 7th, which is the day after this comes out, I believe, or even the day of. I can't remember. It's this week. Okay, if you're listening to this when it first comes out, it's this week, January 7th to the 13th. They have one or two test days, and the championship goes in, and they base all your numbers or how fast you can go, and then you go into qualifying rounds, and the heats are from like A to Q. I mean, that's how many cars. There's a ton of cars.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of cool racing. But one thing that makes it so much fun is because there's so many spectators and they people just love this sport. They came out with this video, Chris, I wanted to show you. And you have never seen this, right?
No.
Okay. I'm going to show This is great. All right, it's going to be behind us.
If you're going to fight, do one-on-one. You can pull anywhere from turns 3 down to turn 1. So basically opening to opening, and settle it yourselves one-on-one. Kind of like hockey rules. Our crew won't break it up till it gets disadvantaged or on the ground. It adds a little excitement for the fans. And, when they do it at the top of the ramp, there's just so many people in this building. You might get a drunk or two to just walk through and sucker punch somebody or an official. We just can't control it at the top of the ramp. There's so many people. We don't want to get it out of control. So I'm just trying to express to the drivers, hey, if you want to do it, put a show on for the fans and do it on the racetrack.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. Man, is that guy a driver?
I'm not sure who this guy is.
He probably needs to put that beard
seems
in
like he's a promoter of some kind, it looks like.
Yeah.
It's such
serious.
I don't know the guy well enough to know that, who he is, but I just thought it was interesting that, hey, if you're going to do it, let's do this.
Do it, yeah.
Remember on the Sports Drone days, you'd go to see a fight and a race would break out.
Oh,
so
yes.
They're still at their roots here. They're still ready to
yeah.
fight. I thought that was cool as hell. All right, the next last item of the news here is... So Donald Leong is a promoter for, he mainly does radio racing stuff in the South, but he put this post out here because we just had that record get beat, I don't know, in the Pro Mod record.
Yeah.
And because we talked about it, it was like, well, is it really a record? Because it didn't happen in competition.
Yes.
Donald Long put on his Facebook. It says, until proven otherwise, this is the baddest door car in the world. Record wasn't set at 3 a.m. with a witch doctor tuning it while sacrificing a goat. It actually happened. That was Frankie Taylor's car at 348.5 at 216.97. So that's pretty funny. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that is.
But he if you don't know who Donald Long is, look him up. He is a character, and he's a really good promoter. Although he seems to be a little bit of nut hanging off of Stevie Fast Jackson, my favorite driver.
Yeah. Okay.
So he really loves him. He puts a lot of memes out about him. All right, so that is it for there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Yeah.
And then right afterwards, we're going to get with Rich, and we're going to talk about electronics and racing.
Have you thought any more about the riddle? Any answers?
No, I have not.
All right.
I should have probably thought about that.
Well, you were doing the news, so
yeah, my mind was elsewhere.
All right,
we'll be right back.
Do you need an engine built right for your car? Take it from us. Call Performance Automotive in Beth Alto, Illinois. Whether it's a small block, big block, Chevy, Ford, or even a diesel. Call Mike or Gordon. These guys are guys that you can trust. That's Performance Automotive, and tell them Line Lock sent ya. All right, we got a special guest today. It is Rich Cancato from the Auto Rod Corporation. They make a lot of cool switch panels and stuff for your car. How you doing, Rich?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Not too bad, man. We're
Happy New Year, all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. This is going to be our first episode after the New Year, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, Happy New Year, everybody.
2024. Mm-hmm. Bring it.
Crazy, right?
Nonetheless, man, we've been using your products for years. I have specifically
We appreciate that.
for years. It's a really great, robust product that there's competition out there, but I think for the most part, you guys are kind of first on scene with developing that style of control panel. Talk about a little bit about what kind of stuff does your business creates for, I know it's not specific for drag cars because they use it in about everything, any hot rods or anything like that. But what kind of product line do you guys have?
We started out in 1978. John Zizza owned the company before myself and my wife bought it. John started making just switch panels. It was a 3700. There was a version of a 3700, and that kind of really took off. And it was the first time anybody had really had a switch panel for a race car. Up until then, it was just a bunch of toggle switches and wire and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And John made an engineered product that actually got people to a switch panel in their car that controlled everything and did it the right way. Mm-hmm. That slowly grew into some different versions of that panel over the years. And then ARC really kind of was a back business for John early on, and then it kind of moved to the forefront of his livelihood in probably early 2000s. with the release of the flat touch system, which is probably the system that you guys have now, the flat touch stuff, the 8,000, the 4,000, 12,000. That stuff was released probably early 2000, like 2003, 2004. And that really kind of set us apart at that point.
So prior to the touch system, you just had a normal toggle control, correct? And that went to your boards?
Yeah, we still sell them, believe it or not.
Yeah, I see that
we sell two different ones. We sell the 3700, which is a 6-switch system for non-nitrous cars. And then we sell a 3701, which is 6 switches plus 3 switches available for nitrous as well.
Yeah. No, it's a really cool system. What I like about it is all your wires go to the one place, and they're all triggered by relay, so you get full voltage at all your circuits. And I think it's a great product because it's easy and simple to diagnose. If you have any issues in the future, everything's right there and pinned out right there. So who'd you say originally developed it?
John Zizza. He was the original owner of Autorod Control when it was Autorod Controls. He started Autorod Controls in 1978. The 3700 actually won SEMA's best new product.
Really?
I want to say it was 78. I could be wrong on the year though.
That's cool.
John won with the 3700, and then kind of 3700 was really all they made for a long, long time. And then there were some variations of it and that kind of thing. And then John kind of started to get into some things a little bit. And then somewhere around the early 2000s, he got on the flat touch screen version in his head, and then kind of brought that to fruition, somewhere in like 2003, 2004 range. And we still sell the rocker switch stuff, but we also sell the
I tell you, the touch stuff in the early 2000s was almost like spaceship stuff. Compared to what we were, and then now there's even more crazy stuff. But honestly, I like what products you guys offer because it's a tried and true situation, and
it's tried and true, and our flat touch stuff is warranted for life.
Yeah. Okay.
Nobody has that. Nobody can say they have it. Nobody can say that they do it. If somebody sends back any of our flat touches from 2004 all the way through today, and it's got some kind of manufacturing problem or something that is wrong with it, we will fix it for free.
Nice.
Now, a lot of times we'll get it back, and it might have been a user error. In other words, they shorted the ribbon cable, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Whatever the case is, and even in those cases, if most of those fixes are $5-10 fixes. They're not, and we usually just fix them and send them back out the door. And one of the things we pride ourselves on is the fact that if you send something back to us, one, we can repair it, but two, we repair it in the same day it gets here.
Yeah, yeah.
I spent a long time in my life racing cars, and I know what it's like to need stuff, the Thursday before you go racing on Saturday. Yeah. And, so one of the things we really focus on is if a repair gets in, they take precedence over everything else.
Yeah.
Repair comes in, we get it fixed right away, and out the door it goes. I got 2 in that came in today, and they were done.
Yeah. First
thing this morning, and they're out the door today.
And that's another testimony I can give for you guys. I've called you up for getting a custom ribbon cable one time, and literally the next day you had it shipped out, and it was a custom length. And that there's very few companies out there. We won't name any names, but a lot of the larger ones that's been scooped up by a large company, they just don't want to deal with you, and you'll wait 6 months to get something fixed, and by that time you just had to have bought another one because if you wanted to race that year,
You're right. It's crazy. The biggest question we hear these days is, wow, you answered the phone or you actually have it? And the answer is always to both of those is, yeah, we do answer the phone when people call. And two, yes, we do have it. I mean, one of the things we pride ourselves on is the fact that we have a catalog, this is our catalog, and there's probably over 150 part numbers in it. And of those 150, 180 part numbers, everything is here in stock. We can build it. If we don't have it, we can build it. Some of the obscure stuff we don't have built on the shelf, but the more popular stuff is on the shelf, and if we don't have it on the shelf, we can build it, and it will ship within 24 hours, guaranteed.
I'm gonna guess your I think it's an 8-switch panel board is probably one of your most common that you sell.
The rockers, the flat touch version, the 8000 is the white 8000. Yes, is the most popular. Whether it's roll bar or dash mount, it's kind of split. Roll bar is probably a little more popular, but not much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is the most popular right now.
That's the system I've installed in numerous cars, the black and the white, roll bar and non-roll bar, and it's a really straightforward system. I tell you another great benefit if anybody watching this is considering upgrading their electrical this year. One problem that you end up having, and I'm sure this is the exact reason that is developed, is you end up if you're wanting your switches up high, you have to run a numerous amount of wires up there. And it clogs up your A-pillar, it clogs up wherever all those wires going up there. Plus, all those are fault points. The cool thing about ARC is their control panel is actually just one cable that goes down to the actual control relay board. And we're going to talk about that. It's definitely, yeah, because that's we saw you at PRI and we talked about it. And that's one of the coolest things that you guys have, like the new thing that you've come out with in a while, because it solves a lot of issues. But it's one wire going down and easy to diagnose. I don't want to call it fail-safe, because in the past the ribbon cable was a point of contention, particularly if you installed it wrong, which you've solved that with the new ribbon cable design. But it makes it so streamlined and fast. Plus, if you're pre-wiring stuff, you can bring all of your power wires to one area, and it's a super simple install, super simple to be able to trace your wires back, and it's a great product. So I know that you make some larger systems. You said you had some nitro stuff, and I just recently installed one. It's an 8+4. I'm not sure what the number of that has. 8 controls plus the 4 additionals.
Yeah. Now is it so? It's an 8001 ECU. It's probably 8000 ECU, 8001 ECU, which has 4 ground trigger or voltage trigger relays.
That's the one. Yeah.
They're becoming a lot more popular with the advent of EFI. I mean, EFI. One of the things we saw at PRI is, maybe 4 years ago, PRI, 30 to 40% of the cars you might talk to were EFI-based cars. Mm-hmm. Today, that number is probably close to 60%.
Easy.
Yeah. So one of the things we've really worked on is improving that side of our line and really advertising it more than improving. We've had it forever, mm-hmm. those ECU-based stuff, part numbers, but we haven't really sold a lot because a lot of people just don't need them. In a regular NA carbureted car, you really don't need ground trigger relays to launch stuff. Mm-hmm. Now with the ECU, control, everything's outputted to as grounds, and now all of a sudden you need all this stuff.
One of
the things we are working on is a solid state module mm-hmm. that will hopefully be available for PRI next year.
That would be really cool to have solid state relays instead of the mechanical relays.
It's definitely something that we have on the bulletin board for a to-do list this year. Between now and PRI, so we're hoping to have that out.
That'll certainly save a little bit of weight and probably some amp draw from just holding those circuits down. The only question is, are those going to be repairable by you as well? Because I'm sure those are probably mounted a little different than a normal relay.
It all depends. We're not at that point yet.
Okay.
We're hoping that it can be. Mm-hmm. One of the things we pride ourselves on is the fact that most of our boards are repairable. We don't pot anything. Mm-hmm. We don't do that kind of stuff. So, our relays aren't potted right into the relay board mm-hmm. and all potted together. So if you send it back and it's all potted, all we can do is sell you a new one. We don't do it that way.
Yeah.
Everything on our board is repairable if need be.
Going back to the 8.
Something with the solid state, we would try to follow the same guidelines.
Gotcha.
And keep it repairable.
Going back to that 8+4, the reason that we used it wasn't a fuel injection issue. Is we just wanted to be able to use those extra 4 relays for the 7AL for shifting or all those other items that we would use.
Absolutely.
And that's the reason we use the additional 4. So if anybody's wiring their car and they're running 7AL or even a 6BT or whatever that has some kind of triggering for shifting, those units are really nice because you're able to add some ground triggers and be able to those accessories that you need to happen going down track is great. So those are awesome. And then I also noticed that you have a sensor relay board that I just was researching right before our conversation about. I had never seen you do that, or I haven't seen that product yet. It gives you your signal powers and your signal grounds for your sensors for EFI, for instance.
Yeah, so basically what we did was, my job before I bought ARC 2 years ago was I wired race cars. I wired close to 300 cars a day.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm proud of that, but I did it. Wired everything from street cars to prologs to, road race cars to drifting cars, you name it, I've wired them all. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we found with EFI kind of moving into the forefront of things is that you do this beautiful wiring job. You give the guy his car, he takes it home, then he calls me up and says, "Hey, Rich, I need to add 3 sensors. I need a flex fuel, I need a this, and I need a that." And you tell them what they got to do, and then you see the car 2 months later, and it's a train wreck.
Oh, yeah, nightmare.
Because they don't know what to do. They've got 3 wires coming from ECU here, there, and everywhere, because everything needs 3 wires. You need center power, center ground, mm-hmm. and signal wire. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that kind of I thought of as from a wiring car perspective is let's neaten this up a little bit. If we have a little board that we can bring center power and center ground to it and 8 signal wires to it on a one nice small cable, kind of like a ribbon cable does, but not a ribbon cable. It would allow the user to then tie that cable in at the ECU and put this board anywhere you want in the car, and then you can just bring your sensors right to it.
Yeah.
Rather than have all these wires go back and forth in the car.
Right.
So
Kind of like
neatens things up quite a bit.
Yeah.
It was really, really popular at PRI. A lot of people bought them. In fact, we ran out of them at PRI,
Really?
and we're still shipping them, and it's been a really popular part.
Yeah, what I liked about it is it goes back to your roots of being able to easily diagnose and troubleshoot. If you had it wired directly to the ECU, you wouldn't have good pinouts to be able to check voltages and stuff on your sensors. So that being kind of a breakout board style where you have screw terminals that you can actually do some testing on as you're going through is a huge benefit for a guy that's even home gamers or guys that are professionally building them to be able to diagnose their work or, troubleshoot, I guess you could say, track.
The other thing it allows you to do is if you're having a problem with a certain input, I should say, on your EFI ECU, you can move it to a different input quickly just by moving it to a different part of the board, and then you can find out if maybe you got bad input on the board.
Yeah, okay.
On your ECU board that's going out on you, and you can kind of quickly diagnose. The other thing we also included on that board is an LED to indicate that you have sensor power.
Okay.
Sometimes you're banging around in the software and you might unclick, that pin that's providing power, and maybe doesn't have power anymore. There's a million different things that can happen when you're rushing around doing things.
Yeah.
And it just kind of just helps with some of that stuff.
You guys are knocking it out of the park with those, again, robust designs, having the ability to troubleshoot on your own, and it's a great product, great lineup. The one thing you came out that we saw at the PRI that we actually got was the new ribbon cable. Would you like to address that a little bit?
Yeah, the ribbon cable is our ribbon cable. We know it's an Achilles heel. I bought the company in May of 2022. I inherited the ribbon cable with our products. That's what we've been using since 2004. And quite honestly, we've probably sold 20,000 flat touch systems since 2004. Everybody uses the ribbon cable. Most people are happy with it, but there are some people that are not. And we understand that. And we understood what the problem was. John, the original owner, would not move on the ribbon cable. He just wasn't interested in trying to go in a different direction with it at all. And quite honestly, in his defense, at that time, there weren't any manufacturers that were willing to even try to get rid of it if they wanted to, or if we wanted to. So it wasn't really something that was feasible at that time. When I took over in May of 2022, we had the 6000, which is something we can talk about in a little bit, was our newest system that we kind of had in the middle of being produced and figured out. And I wanted to do the ribbon cable because I wanted to address it, but it just wasn't in the card to get it all done in the first 8 months of owning the company. You know what I'm saying? So after PRI not this past one, the one before that, we really hunkered down on the ribbon cable idea, and we still call it the ribbon cable because we're nuts, and we don't ever call it a cable, but it's not a ribbon cable anymore. It's a round cable. It's been completely redesigned from the ground up. It does use a 10-pin connector. Obviously, the biggest thing for the ribbon cable replacement, if there was going to be one, was that we weren't going to make it for the guys who buy panels today.
Right. Yeah.
That wasn't going to work. In other words, you got 20,000 or something out there, you've got to make it backwards compatible. So we weren't happy. We had a couple of different designs of completely different plugs and connection methods, and all that got us to that fixes everybody moving forward, but it never got us backwards. Yeah. So we went backwards and said, okay, we got to stay with the 10-pin because that was just kind of where we knew we needed to be. And then we got a couple of different manufacturers able to come up with something that worked with the 10-pin design. And that really, when we got to that point that we knew that could be done, then it just kind of started going from there. And now what we have is a completely overmolded cable. It's really wild how they produce it. It's a PVC ultra flexible jacketed cable. It's actually got bigger conductors in it than the ribbon cable has. So it doesn't affect anything on the user end side of things, but it does allow us some things in the future if we're going to use that cable for other things, we'll be able to do that.
Maybe put a light underneath or something, because you'll have enough
our new system has that. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
But the other thing it allowed us to do is make it more durable. One of the things we focused on this cable from the word go was durability. Our guys take those cables, they zip tie them in, they do this, they do that, and they get hurt, they get damaged. And those are the guys that go on the internet, and I understand, and they scream and yell that the ARC cable hung me out to dry. It was a race, it was in the third round, and it died. Whatever, I get all that, and unfortunately, it took us a while to figure it out. But we wanted something durable. We wanted something that was way more robust than it should be in a race car environment. I never really thought the ribbon cable was that answer.
Now the ribbon cable, most of the failures on that, let's be real, is improper installation. I mean, you say it right in the directions that if you zip tie it to a cage, you're going to have issues. So if you did the proper installations, I've never had one fail. But the thing is, I always kept one as a spare too. I bought one as a spare because I heard so many stories about it. But it did not make me sway away from the ARC system because it's such a great system that I was willing to accept there may be a chance that this ribbon cable will fail. But you guys fixing that or addressing that is awesome.
I was just going to say, as full transparency is I have the 8-panel in my car that I inherited from Corey, and it came with the gold one. And I zip tied it to my A-pillar, and it worked for a while, and then I found that it prevented it from working if it was zip tied. If I took the zip tie off and loosened it up, it was fine. But we went to the black silicone one that had like a silicone coating on it, not the single cable, but the coating, and it's been working fine. But when we saw you at PRI this past, what was it, December?
Yeah.
At this December, I went ahead and got one of the new ones, and I'm really excited to get that in there because the quality of that what I was able to hold in my hands and feel, it's second to none.
It feels a lot. It feels a lot like an iPhone charging cable as far as the quality. You when you hold something, you can just feel that it's a quality made. That's definitely on there.
To me, it was one of those things that when you put that cable in the box and you open up your 8001 and you get it and you take everything out of the box, you look at that cable and say, wow, this is what's supposed to be in the box.
Yes, yeah.
The ribbon cable never quite had that allure to it. It just wasn't really, to me, it wasn't a race car worthy part. It really just wasn't. And I'm here to admit it. I own the company. We fixed it. And, the black cable was, to your point, the black cable was far better. The black ribbon cable was far better than the gold one. That was a huge move.
Yeah.
Part of it, quite honestly, was the fact that the company who was making that flat cable for us had us bent over a barrel. They knew they made the cable for us, and they knew that they could charge us pretty much whatever they wanted for it. And that was kind of starting to worry us a little bit as prices go up and having to buy things changes and how much you have to buy and things like that. It started to worry us that, wow, what's going to happen when they finally tell us this stuff is $8 a foot or something stupid like that?
Yeah.
And what are we going to do? So we kind of said, you know what, let's just address it now and get it over with.
Well, you did a good job.
So we're happy. We're happy. And going by what we saw at PRI and what we've seen in sales since we got back from PRI and that cable, it's been pretty popular.
Now, let's address, there was one thing that came up that you only have that in one length currently, correct?
Well, that's funny. It's funny. You guys will be the first to hear. We will be offering the ribbon cable in 2 foot, 4 foot, 8 foot, 10 foot, and 12 foot.
Oh,
perfect. That was one thing that we talked about that I was a little worried.
Yeah.
Yep.
We only ordered. We don't sell a whole lot of 12 and 10 and 12 footers. Every now and then you get a guy who might want a 4 footer, in a dash mount version or something like that. So right now we only have 25 of each of those lengths coming. We'll see how that goes, and in the next order we might increase that, or we'll see how it sells. Part of it, some people, like I think you called at some point and ordered a longer one, and with the ribbon cable we just unroll it and make you a longer one. It was no big deal. But it's not quite that easy. We don't actually make this cable. We're having it manufactured for us.
Yeah.
So we don't have that control. So we will have to have longer, different lengths made when we put our bulk orders in at the same time.
I've never ran one that I needed more than 12 feet. So I think you're probably going to be pretty set on that. You'd have to have a very long car and then mount that box in the trunk to be able to really
I
need that.
I did one for an engine shop just the other day, an 8000 Pro Mod with a kill switch, a remote kill switch. It was going to be in the dyno room. Had a 30-foot ribbon cable.
Okay.
Oh.
See, but that's different. It's a dyno room.
That's different, right? And for those guys, we will still have ribbon cable available.
Yeah.
For those guys who need something longer than 12 foot, maybe shorter than 2 foot, that kind of thing, we will have.
That's a market I never even thought about. That would be a really good market for you guys, those dyno rooms and stuff, because you could use that for any type of triggers that you need in there.
Yeah, it's I've wired a couple different dynos in my wiring days, and the company who just bought one just right before Christmas, they bought it. It shipped the other day actually. Ordered it with a 30-foot ribbon cable and like I said, a remote kill switch for our 8000 that we built. So when they're in the dyno room and if somebody's doing valves or there's a leak or who knows what, They can just hit the kill and it'll kill everything right there in the room.
That's cool.
They don't have to run back to the control room or do anything like that. So
That's cool.
The kill switch was a big thing safety wise that we thought, was really important. Especially these cars get faster and faster.
Yeah.
Small tire stuff. They're violent. They react much quicker.
Mm-hmm.
They're sideways way quicker than they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And the kill switch is kind of nice. You look up, you hit the kill switch, and you're good.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys are seeing that as an option,
yeah.
as a benefit.
Great. Now you said you mentioned that there's a product that maybe it's more advanced than the stuff we've been using. That you said that a minute
yes,
ago.
we have what's called the 6001, which is our newest system.
Mm-hmm.
We released. John and I started working on the 6001. Oh God, 4 years ago now. That was pre-COVID, right before COVID. We actually brought a version of it to PRI just to show people what it looked like, get some feedback on it. It was pretty popular. People liked it, but we didn't have anything that was really working at that point. COVID hit, and we never really worried about it because there was no PRI that year.
Mm-hmm.
Right before PRI, the following year, when PRI came back, I guess it was 21, we brought a working version of the 6001 to the show. Everybody loved it. It was great. It went over really well. We didn't have a relay board for it, though. That was something that we hadn't developed yet. That was the game plan. Once we got back, we knew it was good. We'll go with the relay board. Unfortunately, right after PRI, John passed away.
Mm.
So we were kind of left with half of a 6,000 system.
Mm-hmm.
We had some of it working and figured out, but not a lot of it. When I took over the company, I promised John's wife that we would finish it. Mm-hmm. And bring it to market. That was just something that was important to me, and it was his last hurrah in this business. Mm-hmm. Something that he's been an innovator from day one in racing, and I thought it was important that his last product finally get here. Mm-hmm. So we focused on it, and we not only did we finish the switch pedal portion of it, we got the relay board out as well. The 6,000 was a ground up, start over again. What do racers want? What do racers need? How can we make it happen? Mm-hmm. It's got stuff like interior lights. Mm-hmm. It's got in the relay board, it's got oil pressure control. So if your motor runs out of oil pressure, or shut the motor off. It's got a ground triggered relay for auto shift built into the relay board.
Nice.
LEDs at every output on the relay board, so that if you have power at the relay board and you're trying to diagnose a problem with your water pump, if the light's on the relay board, there's power there. The problem is out at your water pump's in place.
Gotcha.
It's also got neutral safety built into the relay board now. Run 2 wires off of our relay board right to the neutral safety switch, and that's all you have to do. Bump starts in the firewall. That's another kind of big thing guys always want. This is built into our relay board. Give it 1 wire to the bump start switch, ground the other side of that switch, and away you go. It's also got a race pack circuit or data logger circuit built in. 5 amps clean power, so it's fused power for data logger, which is usually 5 amps. But it also leaves the data logger on for 5 or 6 seconds after you hit the kill switch. So it's got a kill switch built in, much like our other systems, our Prolon type system. But when you hit this kill switch, it leaves the data logger on for 6 seconds so it can finish the download. And then it shuts that off as well. So when you hit the stripe, you hit the kill switch, it kills everything in the car, the ignition and all that stuff, but it leaves the computer on for another 6 seconds.
That's awesome.
Finishes the download, and away you go.
I tell you, so the only reason I strayed from ARC module in my race truck was because I needed a lot of those channels, or not channels. I needed a lot of the things that you just stated, and I end up going to. Well, I guess we won't name names, but it's a PDU, so it's an actual computer board that does all that switching. I don't like it. I hate it. And whenever this product comes to market, I'm fairly certain it's out.
Yeah, it's been out. We released it last year at PRI.
Awesome. I'm going to look into it. I may do a switch over. It also has
interior lights built in as well, which I think might interest you guys.
Well, that's one thing we wanted to add this year is some interior lights in our stuff as well. So I mean, two birds, one stone.
This is built into the case. So the case is I don't have one in front of me, but the case is a long kind of rectangular case. And through the bottom of it, there's a hole in the middle with a white or blue LED you pick, and then there's 2 to come down on the angle. So the entire foot area, passenger side, driver's side, and the middle shift area are all lit up.
Wow.
Why these super bright little LEDs are in.
I really like.
One of the things we do is we close the system off. When you get our switch panel, it's enclosed. There's nothing visible in the back. You don't see all these circuit boards and all this stuff going on like some of our competitors do. It's all enclosed, nice finished unit.
Yeah.
I
really like the neutral safety switch built in. I like the oil pressure sensor. Those are 2 main things that I went to the PDU for. And then also I had some interest in trying to monitor some circuitries, but it never really made any sense to even do. It was just something shiny. I would much
Right.
rather go back to a more robust system like you guys have. So we will definitely probably be contacting this year to try to work out something on trying to find a better product than what I'm currently using. That's part of one reason I was upset this year is that PDU broke, and it took 6 months for them to tell me what was wrong with it. And by that time, I had to buy another one. Which those things, we were talking $2,600.
Yeah, it's one of the things we've seen with some of our competitor stuff, the solid state type stuff, and that kind of thing. When you buy one, you better have two.
Yeah.
It's almost like they say, like with a grid, everybody says, "Oh, you better buy two." You know?
I got it.
It's the same kind of thing. If you have one, because once you wire your car with one of those systems, whether it's a smart wire from Race Pack or any of those type systems, okay, there's no
going back.
I call it half-assing it at the racetrack to figure something out and to get something to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not quite that easy anymore.
Nope.
So yeah, it's one of those things that you really do need to have a second one, unfortunately. And you're right, at $2,600 or $2,200 or whatever, it's a lot of money, and it's not something every racer's got, especially in today's economy.
That's one great
thing. You got to buy a switch panel. I have to buy two.
Yeah.
And one sits on the shelf forever. You may never use it, but then again, you might use it.
Yeah, and that's one great thing about your product as well. Some of the cars that I've wired are actually run with us in the race league that we run with. And, they'll have a problem, and I'm able to go over there and easily diagnose it. And if it's one wire problem, it's right there, and it's easy to fix, and it's not a half-ass fix. You can fix it correctly the first time.
It's right. It's fixed once and for all.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You're good. And the other thing with our new 6000 is it's also warranted for life.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that system is the same as it's based on our flat touch systems.
Mm-hmm.
It's a much newer look to it. It's a carbon fiber overlay. It's a much newer look to it. It is watertight as well. In other words, the overlay is now complete. There's no hole in it for the kill switch is actually underneath the overlay now.
Okay.
So that switch system can get wet if it has to. It is for the most part pretty water resistant.
Yeah, so it may even be a good thing for some drag and drive guys then too.
It was a drag and drive thing. The original idea behind the 6000 was dragster, because those guys are open cockpit type situations, that kind of thing. Oddly enough, John never wanted to offer it in a car in a door car type version. I never agreed with that, and him and I will disagree when I finally meet him again. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. I'll probably get yelled at. But we developed the roll bar mount version for it as well, because we thought, the feedback that we were getting at the show when we first brought it there was, is it going to be available for my door car? And the answer is yes, today.
Cool. Well, man, that's pretty exciting. I look forward to it.
Like I said, really, really, really happy with that system.
Yep, cool. Well, you got anything else for old Rich here?
No, I know you're talking about the solid state stuff in the 6000. Do you have anything else that's looking up for the future? A couple years out, maybe?
One of the things we're kind of, one of the things we do when we get back from PRI is, while it's fresh, is talk about some of the things that people asked about. A couple of things that we're working on. We're really growing our pre-wired panel thing. Years ago, John actually got me started on pre-wiring electrical panels and sending them out to the customer, and they put it in themselves once they get it. So we do all the hard wiring on the panel, the relay board and ignition and all that, and then they just tie everything off the fuel pump, the water pump, the fan, whatever, and they put it in. So we're doing a lot with those. We're really pushing those this year. We're going to have some kind of standard versions, I think, that we offer, whether it's a grid or a 7AL3 or something along those lines with one of our units in it. And, that's one thing we're working on. We are also kicking around a cover for the relay board. One of the things we've always gotten asked at the shows is, do you have a cover for the relay board? And the answer has always been no.
Yeah.
And I think we're probably gonna bring that out probably before PRI is my guess.
Mm-hmm.
But we're actively working on. We've got some stuff at the metal shop being fabricated now, trying some things out and kind of kicking some ideas around a little bit.
So what I had done in the past is I just used some standoffs, like some computer standoffs on a piece of plastic. If it was in somewhere where you would need to worry about something getting touched, but for the most part, I've always just left them open, and that's a great idea, having a cover that you can put on one of those units.
Yeah, we will be using the standoff idea like you used. That is kind of the basis of it. It allows us to do that. So yeah, we're working on it. Like I said, it's just one of those things. We do have some designs at the metal shop now being fabricated, getting those bent up, and we'll kind of test those a little bit and see,
Nice.
Whether it's a plastic thing, whether it's an aluminum thing. Not sure yet. We're just not there yet.
Cool.
But that is one thing we're working on. Other things are, again, the solid state. And then we're kicking the idea around of maybe a 10-switch version of the 6001.
Okay.
So we might add another 4 to that if
You're gonna need a stick to hit those buttons over there on the other side.
No, it's actually that system's got 2 switches that are multifunctional.
Oh, okay.
So on that system, when you hit the fan and the water pump turns on the first time you hit the switch. The fan turns on the second time.
Oh, okay, that's sweet.
So by having 2 switches like that, your taillights and interior lights are on the same kind of circuit. So now it takes it from being 8 switches plus the kill switch to making it 6 switches.
Yeah.
It's 5 plus kill. So we would really only be adding 4. It would actually be shorter than a 12,000.
Yeah, nice.
When it's all said and done. So
The
it won't be that bad.
one cool thing that you do offer that I've yet to install, but I've always wanted to, is the mini board that you can put in your engine compartment that you can operate the engine with. I just haven't had a customer that's really wanting to do it yet, but one of these days I'm going to find one I can convince to do it. I think it's a great idea to be able to run your valves or start the motor right there.
Yep.
That's really cool
Yeah,
too.
they're not as popular as they used to be, but we still sell them. We still have them, and we do sell them. You know, every now and then we'll get a couple orders into those. It is something that we don't have any intentions to get rid of. Our boards are designed to work with that, so we'll always have it.
And that was part of the 8+4 that I did for the last customer. I put one in. It was one of those +4s was the starter bump switch in the engine compartment. He just didn't want the ability to start it and all that. And
I mean, some guys just don't want all that ability. Some guys don't need 4 switches out there. I like it because if you're working on valves and you want to start the car up, make sure you check the fuel pressure for leaks, doing carburetor work or something like that. You have all that right there in front of you. You don't have to have somebody in the car and all this kind of stuff like that. Yep. So it is something that it's a pretty nice little piece. One of the other things we have that was pretty popular with shows we called the 8000U, which is a universal relay board. It allows you to decide when you get it whether you want each relay to be triggered by voltage or ground.
Okay.
So it's got a small little toggle switch on the board at each relay, and you decide whether it's triggered by voltage or triggered by ground.
Yeah.
So instead of having something like when we do our ECU stuff, you can have a 2 and a 2 or a 4 and a 4 or that kind of thing, but you can never have like a 1 and a 7 or type thing.
Yeah.
With the 8000U, you can do all that. You can have one voltage triggered, 7 ground triggered.
Yeah.
3 and 5, however you want to do it.
Now that would be one thing as a customer I would request because I've used a lot of those 8+4 boards. If you could make the +4 that same situation where you could be able to trigger ground versus power, because sometimes you have to use 2 relays off the 7AL to do the shift trigger. But if you were able to use it off power, you could just do 1. That would be pretty convenient. But
that's something we could actually do pretty easily. Actually.
Yeah, that would be pretty nice for a lot of the guys. And that's only the only real struggle I've ever had with them is getting that situated. But I still love the +4 boards because of the ability to, like we said, shifter and starter and all those other things you might want to use with the +4s. So cool.
You guys use 16 volt or mostly 12 volts?
I've only used 12 volts. Now it's something he needs to go to 16 volt because he doesn't have an alternator. But most of the guys I install stuff for are moderate race cars, and they want to still have some street use. So most all of them have alternators. Most of them.
Things you want to look at if you haven't seen it, we sell 2 different voltage regulators, voltage reducer regulators. That basically takes your 16 volts and brings it down to 12.
Yeah.
For LED headlights, old style headlights, all that kind of stuff, you run that on 16 volts, they're going to go bad eventually. This takes that 16 volts and drops it down to 12, and then we have one that's adjustable to go all the way to 0.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
One of the things that we've seen with a lot with lately is in the cars. I actually just flew out to Phoenix to wire a friend's car a couple months ago, about 2 months ago, and the newer regulators aren't really capable of dropping the fuel pressure on some of these new pumps at 16 volts.
Okay.
As long as some of these carburetor guys want it. Some of these carburetor guys want 4.5 pounds.
Yeah.
At the carburetor, and if the pump is on 16 volts and the regulator just can't knock it down far enough, one of the things we sell now is we sell these voltage reducers. You put the pump on a voltage reducer, you can knock the pump down from 16 to 14, which allows it to make less pressure and allows the regulator to keep up and it gets
that's a great idea, because if you try to crank down on that regulator too much, you end up getting some cavitation, air pockets, and everything else. So that's an awesome idea. I never even thought about it. Again, I've never had to do any 16 volt stuff, but if I do, I'm definitely going to take that in consideration if we're going to be running any electric fuel pumps. For sure. That's cool.
We got you covered there as well. In fact, it's funny, but one of my wiring customers called me about that. And he said, you're going to find this funny. I just talked to, I want to say, I won't even say who it was. It was a fuel pump manufacturer. And they actually said, call ARC and get it from ARC.
Oh, nice.
They have what you need.
Good. That's cool.
He's like, that guy just wired my car.
Yeah. Well, what's cool about you is you're well known. There's a lot of the cars that we race with or run with a lot of them have your system. And you got to be pretty proud about that, being the guy that helped develop it, or in the process developing after John, and then the one to take it over. That's got to be a really proud thing for you to be able to know that there's a lot of guys that rely on your equipment to win races, because couldn't do it without some power. Most of us.
It's humbling. It's weird in a way. Sometimes you say to yourself, it's hard to believe sometimes there's that many of these systems out there, that many people use them, and when they're warranted for life, they don't get thrown away.
No.
I got one just came back the other day, last week, and it came back. It had to be one of the first flat touch units ever built. I mean, It was old. It worked, and he had to put a finger through the overlay or something like that. We fixed it, sent it back. It worked fine.
When I upgraded, I kept it to the side because I knew that there's nothing wrong with the system. Again, I was chasing bells and whistles, and I regret it now. But
the other thing is you might want to know is on the switch panel side of things. You can get our new Pro Mod switch panel with the kill switch. Mm-hmm. In fact, give me 1 second. I'll get one out.
Yeah.
I just finished building some yesterday. This is our 8001.
Oh, cool.
So this is the black 8000 with the kill switch on the side. Okay.
Nice.
This switch panel can replace your 8000 switch panel with no wiring whatsoever.
Okay.
You can buy this panel, put it in, and you get the kill switch. All the functions are exactly the same. You change nothing other than this panel.
I'm going to need you to send me one of those. We'll test that out for you.
we can work that out.
Yeah, that is a really good looking switch panel.
I love that. Yeah. I love that.
It's this is the carbon fiber version, so I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Kind of got a carbon case. It's carbon. We hydrodip the cases in carbon fiber.
That's cool.
They look really good. It's a really nice. We actually have the ARC now in the kill button.
Nice.
And the kill button is backlit, so it lights up.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Is it like red a little bit?
It's a pretty nice. It's a pretty nice panel. One of these. This was a 2019 intro at PRI, and we didn't sell a whole lot of them. We kind of focused after John passed away and I took over. We did some more advertising kind of ideas and worked some things out, and really kind of started pushing that. And that is probably one of our best sellers right now.
I love it.
I think it's cool.
That kill switch version, whether it's we have a 4 switch, an 8 switch, and a 12 switch with the kill switch as well now.
Sweet. Well, we really look forward to talking with you. And again, for the most part, everyone that I've done has been with your system, so you'll be hearing from me.
We really appreciate that.
And your customer service sounds like it's second to none. I mean, to be able to do what you do, and keeping the racers in mind. So if something goes wrong, that you can get it taken care of. I mean, that is excellent. And I know myself, I'm going to continue using your products, and we're going to get Corey switched back.
I'm going back.
After what we saw today. I mean, it's
I'm really particularly interested in that 6000 model.
Yeah. I think you're going to be putting some pictures on.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I'm going to get some from your website.
All those pictures are on our website. It's 6000 info sheets on it, and all the features that it's got. I mean, it's loaded to the gills with features.
So if anybody was wanting to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of us very simply. 732-851-5095 is the number here in the New Jersey shop. I never remember because it's on speed dial, the Massachusetts shop. But it is, hold on, it's in my phone. It's 774-417-6542. That's our Massachusetts shop. I'm here in New Jersey. www.autorod.net. It's a brand new website as of probably August of this past year. It's full e-commerce now. You can buy anything on the website. Instructions are up there, pictures, diagrams, you name it. It's all up there. Everything is on the website. One of the things we knew when I bought the company was that the website needed a lot of work, and we kind of did that and went full tilt with it. So it's a full e-commerce. You can buy anything, and anything bought through the website ships within 24 hours.
Awesome. And we'll make sure we put all
500 is free shipping. All sorts of little things like that. We do sales and stuff like that every now and then, and that kind of thing.
We'll make sure we put all that info below us in the comments or in the description here to make sure they can get a hold of you. And again, we appreciate you coming on and talking with us and telling us some new product ideas.
Yeah, we learned a lot, Rich. Learned a lot. It's awesome.
It was a pleasure seeing you guys at the show, and a pleasure doing the show with you today. And I look forward to working with you guys. And like I said, if you guys ever need anything or you're doing a show or a particular build, give us a call. We'll work with you and get you some stuff and get you going.
Awesome. Thank you, Rich.
All right, Rich.
Thank you,
Rich Cancato, Auto Rod Corporation. Thank you, guy.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Right.
Is your trailer an organization disaster?
Do you have a hard time finding the tools that you need when you're at the track?
Well, let us tell you about some awesome organizational tools offered by Clear One.
Clear One Products is a leading manufacturer of lightweight, non-marring, scratch-resistant trailer storage components, a high-quality, low-cost alternative to metal components.
Whether it's your race car trailer, horse trailer, work trailer, or even your garage or shop, Clear One offers the products that you need. A full line of products is available to get you organized.
From fuel jug holders, oil and aerosol shelves, trailer door racks, tool and floor jack holders, to vinyl strip doors and jack pads, Clear One has it all.
Check out our friends over at Clear One Racing for all your trailer and race day organizational needs.
That's clearoneracing.com. Clear and the number one racing.com.
Thank you, Clear One, for sponsoring the Line Locked podcast. Man, I tell you, that was a really cool interview. Again, it's kind of my wheelhouse. I love the wiring aspect of things. I love new little chasing bells and whistles, and we're real excited. I'm real excited about that 6,000 unit. I know that you're real excited about that carbon fiber switch plate.
Oh, I just like that big old button sitting there saying, kill, kill, kill.
That was really cool. We really appreciate Rich at Auto Rod Corporation.
And, we've met this guy, shook his hand and everything at the PRI show.
Yeah.
And he seems like a really stand-up guy. And just listening to him talk, and we've learned a lot. Man, that company is going places.
Absolutely. He's definitely forward-thinking. And we appreciate him listening to the racers and then making adjustments. And again, the customer service that I've had with them, bar none, the best, and one of the best in the in the whole racing industry. They're just fantastic people to work with.
Yeah, they're not going to leave us stranded. So that's tops in my book.
So if you're deciding to rewire your car, holler at them. Get you a new unit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we need to finish this one up.
You know what? We did that contest last year.
The extreme sport contest.
Yeah, and your extreme sport that you came up was
skydiving, ironing.
Yeah. And we thought that was pretty cool.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah, it was very funny. So we asked you guys, our listeners, hey, what would a cool extreme sport be? And we've had looks like 5 people respond.
I was a little disappointed in you guys. Come on, you could have thrown some more out there.
Yeah,
but it's okay. It's all right.
So I'm gonna go ahead and go through these, and just remember, we promised that we would give a shirt away to whoever had the best ones. And since there wasn't a whole heck of a lot, we didn't have people vote. So me and Corey's just going to choose ourselves which one we thought was the best. Lisa, she says, along the same lines of what we did, pillow fight skydiving.
Which I thought that was clever.
Yeah. Are they going to be all girls pillow fight? Is that what you...
Extreme lingerie, pillow fighting, skydiving.
Sleepover. Tim says roller coaster chess.
I thought that was... I guess you'd have to have a magnetic
board. Yeah, you would have to.
Yeah.
Vern says foot racing, but you get the hit on a grizzly bear.
I thought that was been my favorite, but Vern, we know you, and we're already gonna give you a shirt, so you already got something coming.
So you get the whole shot on the grizzly bear, right?
Yeah, Well, it goes back. We just a quick story. We were at Hot Rod Nationals, our Hot Rod reunion, and I convinced this girl to foot race Vern.
Really?
Yeah, I think I had $100 on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we did it in the staging lanes, and Vern got the hit, but she outran him. She gapped him.
Oh, wow.
It was only like a 60-foot foot race. And then evidently I had hurt Vern because he had some... I don't know, Vern, put in the comments what you got on your foot, but he couldn't walk right. And I lost $100.
You didn't mess up his throttle foot, did you?
I don't know what foot it was, but plantar fasciitis. That's what it was. That's what he's got. All right. So
Gerald says hoverboard jousting.
Now that one was creative too. I like that one.
Yeah. Have you ever been on a hoverboard?
I tried and I fell right.
Yeah, I was going to say
F off.
There is no doing anything but trying to keep your balance on that, let alone jousting with somebody.
Yeah.
And Fast Eddie says lawnmower racing, but you got to leave the blades on and running.
I like it.
Can you imagine? If
that's the most
over,
extreme of them all.
If you flip over, I mean, that is like you could be losing some limbs.
Yeah.
Or somebody else would be.
This is going to be tough.
So those 5, which one do you think is number 1?
Well, honestly, Vern was my favorite. Only because we got history, though. That's not fair.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like we have to really put on what's the most extreme.
Yeah.
And to me, the most extreme would be the lawnmowers. the lawnmower racing.
Yes. Yeah, and what makes it, well, there is lawnmower racing out there, but you have
With the blades.
with the blades on and running, and it would be even more
I'm
interesting.
thinking no guard.
No guard, exactly. That would be more interesting, but we'll give it to him.
Yeah, I think that's, if you go just on extreme, because all these other ones, jousting, roller coaster, you can survive that. There's a good chance you're not surviving a wreck on a lawnmower that's blades are still spinning.
Yes.
So, and you probably wouldn't survive if a grizzly bear was chasing you either, though.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We're going to give it to Fast Eddie.
Yes,
So
Fast Eddie, man, congratulations. We'll get your address and everything. We'll get you this.
Email us at linelockedpodcast@gmail.com, your address, and we will send you out a shirt.
Yeah, we will.
And your shirt
get-
size.
And yeah, definitely shirt size because, knowing him, he'll send out a small for you.
Yep.
So,
I'll send you out what I got.
so any ideas on the answer to the riddle?
Say it one more time.
So you're out on the water
Yeah.
and you see another boat and it's filled with people, but it has not sunk. But when you look at it again, you don't see a single person on the boat. Why is that?
You said it was filled with people?
Filled with people, but when you look at it a second time, there's not a single person on the boat and it has not sunk.
I think I'm going ghosts. I don't
Ghosts?
know. I don't know.
I think there was a movie made about ghosts on a ship or something.
No, I have no idea.
No,
Well, hopefully by this time, everybody's got their answers below. What
Yeah.
is it?
Every person is married. They're not single. So you don't see a single person on the boat because they're all married. Oh, my gosh.
That's just playing on words.
It is
that
playing
a
on
riddle?
words. That's, hey, it's a riddle. That's what
Okay.
they do.
Well, if you guys enjoyed that and you think it would be fun to continue it, we'll continue it. Just let us know below. I thought that's not fun. I'm not going to say fun. I'm saying it's not fair. Just play on words.
It's just a play on words. Okay.
Okay. Well,
All right.
I don't know. It was okay. We'll see what happens. What do you guys think? All right. Make sure that you guys are subscribed. Make sure you like this, and if you really like it, share it with a friend.
Yeah.
We need to grow as a group, and we're trying to make something fun for you. So if you have some ideas, make sure you email us or put us in the comments, and we will probably, I guess, see you next time. Huh?
Yeah. So just as a quick reminder also, if you're listening to us on one of the podcast forums and you want to see the actual videos, you can go to find us at Blood Brothers Racing on YouTube, and we have all these listed here.
Yeah, I guess we've never talked about it that direction. We've only talked about it the other way.
The other way.
So if you are just listening, we do have the video version of this.
Yes.
And it's Blood Brothers Racing on YouTube.
Yes. So, and with that, I think we can call it a day. What do you think?
I think so.
All right. We're going to do it on time this time. My name is Chris.
I believe I'm Corey.
And we are Line Locked.
That was the worst we've done.
I know. We got so much time to talk, and then all of a sudden there it is.
All right, we'll see you next
See you
time.
guys.